Hi friends, let's start where we left off. So we are going to now see how do we put in an application that will use django's authentication. So before we start, we are going to create a user that will be used by the application. So you can log into the Django admin page and create your user. So for now we are going to create a user, my web app user 1, give it a password and give it some details for the user. So there are some restrictions on the password. So you can once you log into the admin page, you can see it comes below the password. It needs to be 8 in length, it needs to have both characters and numeric, so on and so forth. So now the user is created. Now we will go ahead, give some first name, last name. These are not mandatory, but yes, we are going to give it. So probably when we start interacting with the database, we will try to retrieve these and update these using the application. So we are going to give some dummy email address. So all these will be stored in the Postgres database that we had created last time, that schema we had given, my django web app underscore sch, or that there the tables were created. So in those tables this information will be stored. Yeah, so it is now saved. So now you will see another user. The admin user was the one which we created using create super user command. So now using that we logged in and created the other user. So this is a normal user that we have created. So now we need a login page. So we are going to have an application with a login page. So what we will do, we are going to have a URL regular expression that will actually parse the login, a logout, and then the next part will be something which will give us a success page. So there will be 3 regular expressions that we will add apart from the one which is already there. And so it is very important here to have it in the right order. The regular expression should be in the right order because it starts processing from the first to the last. So if you have it in the wrong order, it might try to process a template or a URL that you have given using a different view which you don't want. So here for the login and logout, the Django within itself gives you some standard view. So we are using that view. So if you see, I am importing Django contrib auth views views as auth views, and then from auth views I am calling the login view. So there is a login view, there is a logout view, there's a password reset view. So these are the standard views that are already present in Django. So we are going to use that. So now we are going to create a login.html file. So this is how your page will look like. So it will have both code and HTML mixed. So here you see there is extends base.html and a block content. So base.html is a common template that you can use across all your pages in your application. So you can create one base.html which will ideally have all your CSS imports, images import, blah blah blah, whatever you want to give, headers, these kind of things. And you have the URL login. So it's basically the name of which you will give in your urls.py, form as p. So form is something, since we are using a built-in view, we are pulling in a form which is built in into the Django. So that's the form we are pulling out. Okay, and the login is what we have given. So we will give that regular expression line for login and name as login, so that whenever we use it, that login thing comes. So that's the name. So we are going to create a view that is going to parse or retrieve all the files post login. Okay, so yeah. So either we can give a template name, or we don't need a template name. We can just call the view, because anyways the name request underscore file is getting passed to the view by default, the way we have specified within the arrow brackets in the regular expression. So it will pick whatever comes, whatever is requested for, and then pass it to the generic view. So then we will write the generic view to process this. Okay, so we will create another page now. We need a success page, we need a base page, so both we will create, and we will also add later on your CSS images and stuff like that. So now let's first create the success page, which is supposed to come post your login, and it is going to display welcome your username. So we will create that, put it in the templates, success. So we give it a name success. Now we will create a view that is going to retrieve this success and render it. Okay, so it is what happens is when the URL is passing the requested file, it comes as just the name of the file. It doesn't give the extension. So what we have written, or I have written a logic, is that it's going to go to the base directory, and then pick it up. So there is a line here, user authenticated. It means that I'm going to only process this view if the user is authenticated. So if I am directly going to hit success.html, it will redirect me to the login URL. So login settings.login underscore URL we had defined last time as login. So it will automatically take you to the login page if you have not logged in. And the rest is simple. It reads the config from the config file, then goes to that directory, sees what is the file present with that name. So if it's an HTML, it retrieves the HTML file and then gives it back to the Django to actually show it on your client, IE or whatever, Chrome or something. So this has taken. Okay, so yeah. So your login and success have been set up. Now let's try to log in. So there's an error here now. We will see what is the problem. You see, it gives an error on base.html. We haven't created the base.html, but we are trying to retrieve it in our login page. So let's create the base.html. Base.html could be as simple as having a HTML tag and a title tag and a placeholder for the content, block content, which we have mentioned in our login.html or success.html or anything for that matter. So we will put in the HTML tags, standard tags here. So whatever title you want for your application. Now the body tag, and then your text, whatever you want to print. So in the body we are going to put the block content. So that's the placeholder. So now it knows that in this block content and block content, it has to pick the block content from your success or login.html and put it here. So here you have a block content and end block content. So everything between this will be pulled out from here and then put back in your base.html, and then the entire HTML is formed. So this is how it concatenates and forms your overall HTML. So you get your login screen. Okay, let's in the source, if you see, now you will have the both the base and the login both now concatenated. Now login, let's log in and see. Okay, there's an error now. Let us see what is the error. So we have given request file. I think in the view we are using template name, but whereas when we are calling the view, we are passing the req_file variable. So we will go back and fix that in the view. So we have at multiple places. We want to replace it everywhere. See, if you see in the background, every time we do a change in any of our view or URLs, automatically this web server will restart. So that's something that is built in into the development web server of Django. So yes, now you are able to log in. So you get your login page. Okay, so success, welcome user. So it's a simple text. I have not given any HTML tag, so it's going to come in a single line. Okay, so this is how it is. So here one more thing is there is something called as form.asp. So that's something like form is something which is inbuilt. So here for a login form, I am using the inbuilt form that is given in So now I've added the same content into my success.html also. So we can now beautify our login page as well as by the other page, giving my images and CSS and stuff like that, so that it looks better. Okay, so I have already some image and CSS that I had done for some other application. We are going to use the same here. So that is the style sheet, and here if you see I have given static everywhere. So what is that load static? Load static means it's going to pull out the static path from your settings.py. If you remember, we had given in our setting.py a path for static /static/. So that's where this is getting picked up from. So that's what we are telling it. You are going to use this everywhere. I am going to give as static. So it's a static file. We are going to tell it's a static file. So everywhere I am retrieving the static file, the JPG CSS I have given static. So it knows. For the other ones, if you see, we had given URL. So here I am also using if user authenticated. This is something that we can either take care in the views or we can give it in here. Both is possible. Just to highlight, I have also added a logout page, okay, in the login.h or in the base, so that we will also have a logout. So now all these will be in the static folder. So we will create the static folder and move these files into that location. Okay. I already have these files. As I told, I had used it for another application. I'll just move those static files into this. So we are going to add the logout also. So there will be one more regular expression that I'm going to add for logout. URL, whatever regular expression contains logout. Yeah. So here also I'm going to use the view that is built in Django. Auth_view.logout view. So there is a template name which will be same. If you see the the way it works is the login URLs, login view template name will be actually the file which you use to log in, and for the logout view it is the template name will be the file which will be used, or which after logout where you will be redirected. So it remains the same. Both will remain login.html. So now let's see what happens. So yeah, so here you go. So you have the web page which is styled. So yeah, actually there is still some problem. We will see what is the issue, because it's not coming as it was designed to come in the CSS. You can log out as well as log in. So both are working. Now let's see what is the issue, why it's not properly styled. Okay, so if you see here, so it's giving a 404 error for the CSS. So yeah, so when we copied, I did not rename the CSS file to mywebapp.css. So I think it's the old CSS only. So let's rename it. So now it's come. So now it should be fine. So yeah, see here it looks good. So yeah, let me just make it proper so that you will see the full page. Yeah, now it's okay. So this is how you have the. So next in part 3 we are going to see how to create models and then how to use the database.